My name is Nicola Chopin. I am the project manager for the Sustainability and Education Policy Network, which runs out of the Sustainability Education Research Institute.
So my name is Kathleen Akins, and I am a PhD candidate in the School of Environment and Sustainability.
Okay, my name is Janet Kushik, and I'm a first-year doctoral student here I'm in the School of Environment and Sustainability.
My name is Naomi, and I am a first-year PhD student in the School of Environment and Sustainability, and I'm also working in SEPN.
So my name is Andrew Beeler, and I'm a postdoc here at SERI. My postdoc is housed out of the Sustainability and Education Policy Network. But I've also, over the course of the summer, I actually did some work for SERI, doing analysis and writing around a youth action research project called the Digital Media Project.
All right, so SERI was established in December 2012, and it's becoming a really great place where a bunch of very active students, professors, and other staff who are interested in sustainability issues can come and work on improving the state of sustainability on campus at the University of Saskatchewan, across Saskatoon, and some of the work that we're doing is also nationally focused. And we also have, at a completely different level, the Sustainability and Education Policy Network, or SEPN, which is the grant that I work on as a project manager, and that is a project that we are working on at all levels of government and stakeholders. So the idea with that project is to be collecting information on what kind of sustainability policies are out there, what our academic institutions what our education system across Canada is saying it's doing about sustainability issues, and then examining whether in fact sustainability is being taken up and how sustainability is being taken up in different ways. So one thing that's really, really neat about SERI is we recently completed a sustainable renovation, and a lot of the wood that you will see when you come and visit us is actually recycled from grain elevators from Saskatchewan, all made by a local artisan as well. And then we also have this fantastic living wall, which is actually on both sides. There's another room behind me that you can't see. Great, so this is a wall that we have at SERI that's been part of the Sustainable Design Reno. It is all from a grain elevator in Saskatchewan. So it's really rough, and you can actually see where the barn was painted red, or the grain elevator was painted red. This is some of our cabinets that we have they're also made from recycled wood from grain elevators. And we have some lockers in here. I'm not sure which school they're from actually, but we have several cabinets here. And if you look inside, we have part of our digital media project equipment. So we have a great little project here called the Digital Media Project. It is specifically for youth who are and it teaches youth to explore how to have a voice and to engage with sustainability issues through the use of digital media, which includes map making, photography, and video making.
Some of the place pedagogies that we experimented with, or that the Digital Media Project experimented with, included photo voice. So photo voice is interesting because it asks participants to go and take photographs of social and environmental issues in the city, for instance, here in Saskatoon, and then to engage in an interpretation of those photographs, through the course of which participants tend to kind of reflect on their own stories and their own experiences of witnessing things like water pollution or waste or homelessness or whatever it happens to be that they've been concerned with in their photography project. So photo voice is a great practice.
A lot of the videos that some of the students have produced are up on our YouTube page, and you can visit SERI's website and look at some of the stuff that they've done there.
The SERI space that I work in here is important to me because it offers a collaborative learning space. It's very exciting to work in a space that incorporates a lot of elements of sustainability, that uses repurposed materials, that has an amazing green wall, and it's also great to work in close collaboration with my colleagues.
So what I find to be most beneficial with SERI and being able to come to this lab as a space is kind of like the openness, you know, so it does give you a feel of like a community. A lot of the students come here to study or to work on projects, but we also have time where we discuss different concepts, we can ask questions. It's sort of like a safe space, you know.
I come to SERI to study here because this is the space that has been provided for us. As students and as researchers, a place where we can interact with our fellow students. It gives us a really good green space to kind of work and share ideas and brainstorm. It's set up in such a way that we can have conferences, where we have a good screen over there, where we can kind of Skype with other people and whatnot. And it's just a quiet place. We have a quiet room over there, and we have a place where we can chit-chat. So it gives us a sense of community, I feel like.
You know, we call it a lab, but it's like a very holistic, I feel like, working space. I think that my research will kind of incorporate themes of land or place-based research, the concept of materiality, in the sense that I'm going to be looking at different provinces and how they incorporate sustainability education policy. And so each place, I'll be able to see how things are taken up differently. And that'll be kind of shaped by the different resources available in that area, just other constraints that are kind of bounded or limited or delimited even by place and by that connection to land that people have.
As far as my research, it's a really interesting concept to think about being a researcher and considering place, because researchers are often expected to travel very easily from place to place. For example, do field-based research somewhere other than where they're conducting their main research, or to conduct their research far away from home and to kind of travel around at will in order to find jobs. So research is interesting because I think it forms an important concept or core of teaching and learning for the environment, but at the same time, the kind of context of academia asks researchers to be highly mobile and to detach from places that they're actually quite deeply attached to.
So my research is based on divestment, fossil fuel divestment campaign that has been going on in the US and in Canada. And I'm just looking at how it has spread over time from US into Canada and who are the key players involved. And the fossil fuel divestment campaign is really about pushing universities to distance themselves with the companies that are contributing to the destruction of the environment. And so I see place as the different contexts in the universities where divestment is being taken up, and how that context really impacts the success or the failure of these campaigns, and who's there, and how that kind of enables its uptake. So that's how I can see space involved in my research.
So for my research, I want to look at decolonizing environmental education or sustainability education. And in particular, like, I'm really interested in how some students experience schools as white spaces. And this is, indigenous children, minority children, immigrant children. It really depends. And it's not all children of those groups that I just named, but some of them do. And so I kind of want to look at aspects of like inclusion, so when I go into schools, I want to see, what are the pictures on the walls? Is it representative of the, Canadian kind of story, that story of being multicultural and inclusive. So I really want to look at that.
Okay. So last year I did a project called The Farm, which was a land art project in Markham, Ontario. Markham, Ontario is one of the fastest growing cities in North America, and it also has some of the richest soil in North America. It's just kind of on the periphery of Toronto, another major Toronto Canadian city. And so what we did there was we experimented with a series of workshops on art and agriculture. So how do we grow things? How do we build things, build creative structures, sculptures, this sort of thing in order to grow vegetables?
Okay. So for the first part of what advice I would give teachers who are looking into doing like place-based education, I would definitely say, get out of the books. I mean, of course, everything has to be kind of grounded, and you have to have some literature that's going to inform your I guess, teaching. But like, you want to go to those places. Like,
what I can tell them is to really know where they are, what in their school, to know their surrounding community, to know the history, the historical aspect of the places where they are, the schools where they are, and to even know how that affects the students and what that means for the type of education that they're teaching or the learning spaces. Because I think the place where you are, even how the classrooms are set up, can affect the teaching and the ability of the students to learn.
So if you want to explore sort of land art or storytelling to engage with the environment, I'd recommend a couple different things. First of all, walking. Group walking practices can be really great. So go for a group walk around the neighborhood of your school and bring along digital cameras or participants' youth iPhones, for instance, and ask participants to take photographs of images of things that stick out for them in the environment. You could do it around a particular issue or leave it more open. So water issues around South Saskatchewan, for instance. And then ask them to think about those photographs and to interpret them in relation to their own lives.
I think my suggestion would be to start small and look at what's around you. Don't make it into something exceptionally difficult. There's some scholarly literature that actually suggests that teaching and learning about the environment happens best when it's in places that are really familiar to students. So if there's a schoolyard, use that. Even a patch of grass can be an amazing way to connect to the land in some fashion.
Looking holistically, where you situate on a global perspective, national perspective, and even at local level, into the classroom, I think matters and affects what type of learning takes place there. So.
An example, this is actually an example from an elementary school teacher that I worked with a bit, but she was really encouraging of students bringing the outdoors in, but finding ways to talk about animal care and respect towards nature. So her students brought things like snakes, small snakes, into the classroom. They brought beetles in, they brought grasshoppers, and they had opportunities to interact with these organisms and to kind of write on them, reflect on them, draw about them, and then finally to treat them respectfully and return them to where they came from. So there's a larger lesson in there in terms of respect for other non-human living things.
I think that a lot of the people here are doing things that I think will actually make an impact.
Okay, good. That's good. That's good.
able to refer back to the library, grab a book if I need it. I really want to take some home, but I can't.
You're going to be editing a lot.
You're spiteful.